What's going on, Gemini? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having a fantastic month so far. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just amazing, Gemini, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Harris has brought you here. We are in for an amazing journey. And let me tell you why, Gemini, because it is Celestial News Monthly. I hope you're as pumped as I am, Gemini. Like every time I bring that energy, I was like, everyone's just like, yeah, Celestial News Monthly. But Gemini, with this monthly spread, whenever the sun changed over to a new sign, we're going to talk about where the planets are at and how we can work with the energies. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, and never force a reading on a situation, okay? So with all that being said, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Crystals. Feeling lovely. There's great energy all around here, Gemini. So I have some oracle cards laid out here with the zodiac signs that the planets are in. I'm going to pull some oracle cards from this deck for each one, and then we'll get some details with the tarot. But before we jump into this thing, these readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations, okay? Thank you. And in case if you all were curious, the decks that I'm working with, I've included links for them down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you're interested there, Gemini. But also down below are some links for some other readers that I like watching, so definitely give them a check out. They're a very, very intuitive group, really great energies, and it's cool to see how just how intuition translates from reader to reader. So definitely check that out if you're interested, Gemini. But before we jump into this first card here, let's talk about this little party that Leo's getting ready to throw down in their sign, because the sun is moving back home in Leo, and then you got Venus that's getting ready to do her retrograde cha-cha slide here, something along those lines. Every time I'm thinking of a different dance move that she's doing every time I talk to a different sign. But with the sun being back home in Leo, the sun's going to enter on the 22nd of July about 8:50 p.m. That's going to be Central Time, and will be in Leo until the 23rd of August. And with this energy, Gemini, this is a great energy for just like getting out there and just like playing, really tapping into that like inner child type of energy, having it out playing, tapping into that creative side of you and just doing things that you love. Leo is very much about, they live in the 5th house, and that energy is very fun, very playful, very creative, and you're a very, intelligent sign as well. You and Leo kind of embody that kind of childlike aspect as well. Gemini being ruled by Mercury deals with that like kind of early childhood learning and that curiosity and things. So this would be a great energy for you to feel. If you feel any sort of like inspiration or stuff, really, really work with that energy, Gemini. And this is also a very rejuvenating energy for experiencing life, and again, just having finding that sense of, we've been maybe working really hard, finding that kind of work smart, play smart balance. Because the sun being at home, I feel like that it's the final, like, it's like after you make that transit around the year, it's just like oof, I can finally just kind of relax a little bit, just kind of recharge the batteries. And that's why I feel like a lot of this is going to be like a recharge type of Gemini. But also on the same day, the Empress, Venus, may be throwing a little trickiness into the mix here, because she's going to enter on the same day as the sun on the 22nd of July, and will be retrograde, or not enter, but she'll be going retrograde on the 22nd of July, and then will be there through the retrograde into the 3rd of September. And this is an interesting mix of energies here, because this is great for like finding different avenues to express yourselves, whether that be through art, through math, through science, through whatever, that mechanics, just really kind of putting yourself out there, exploring those different mediums. But this is also, like becoming the artist of your own life, and, creating a space of self-love and discovery and things, really kind of building up that confidence and that self-esteem there, because Leo's very confident energy as well there, Gemini. So, and then, and really play to that kind of, that sort of like that funny, charismatic energy of Leo's as well, because you're a very witty sign, Gemini, and so you throw that extra kind of bravado and that natural charisma that Leos had. I mean, you're just conversational slayers right there. And another thing before we talk about the aspects that this forms, because Venus too, dealing with relationships, and her, retrogrades, we're going backwards. So there may be some energies coming back from your past. So, and this doesn't just have to be with like love relationships, Gemini. This could be where maybe you've been thinking about some old family members, or maybe some friends or something along those lines, or maybe vice versa. Someone might reach out to you, but pay attention to that type of energy too there, Gemini. And the nice thing about this sign as well is that depending on where your Gemini placements are at, this is forming a sextile with your sign. And this is a very fortunate aspect. It's very easy flowing energies, good for ideas and collaborative energies. But the thing with the sextiles is that they're very passive and not very dynamic energy. So it's something that we have to take that initiative. It's just think of sextiles as literally, I mean, it's all in a sense just potential, but sextiles in particular, it's like if we do, you can either take it or leave it with that energy, But if we do, it is going to be, like, for example, I made a Virgo had presented me an opportunity not too long ago, maybe a couple months back, and it helped for a little while. Like, it was one where at first, like, I completely dismissed it, and I was actually in the middle of a sextile transit, and that's what made me even rethink that. I was like, oh my goodness, wait a minute, this would help me with X, Y, and Z, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, wait, Virgo? So it's kind of like that. It's one of those things, if I wouldn't have caught it, the situation would have passed, and luckily I knew the person to kind of get back on that opportunity. So definitely pay attention to that, Gemini. But let's get to your first card here. Oh, Gemini, look at you singing over the energies. I'm with it. You got one of your cards, the fifth card, Gemini, and look at you, abundant. You got the yacht card here. Go ahead, get on your boat there, Gemini, because this is a card of adventure, affluence, luxury, mobility, travel, great ease, smooth sailing, sophisticated, with the wind, self-indulgent, prosperity, comfort, wealth, over the top, and extravagant. And the energies here that's kind of coming through, Gemini, is the sense of the adventure and the self-indulgent that's really kind of coming in. I feel like that if we've been, it almost feels like that maybe there's this wanting to go on like an adventure, or like go for like a trip or something along those lines. And I don't feel like it necessarily has to be something like super extravagant or anything along those lines, but I do feel like that this is an energy of definitely treating yourself and allowing yourself to. Because Gemini, I feel like yours is also a sign, Mercury deals with, when dealing with like Gemini energy, is like that kind of like short-term travel. So this could be, and not to say you can't go out of the country there, maybe go on like a cruise or something, Gemini, but this could be maybe just like going for a drive, or maybe going for a hike, or maybe going for a bike ride, or just in the sense of even just like, honestly, just even being more mobile in general, just even like going for a walk. There's like a need of like maybe moving the energy more. Maybe we've been feeling kind of antsy, just like been maybe stuck in our heads or something along those lines, and there's a need, because that could even be something too, Gemini. Maybe if this isn't like a physical type of adventure, maybe this has been more of like an internal one, and there's this need. Sometimes when we get in sort of like that meditative space, and we really take that time ruminating and just kind of pondering life, and maybe doing like some journaling or things along those lines, where all that stuff is nice, being in that hermit mode, it is nice. It is, I feel like we got to find a balance, as well as like making sure we're getting out of there and just keeping the energies moving, because sometimes when we stay stuck in that in an energy for too long, I don't know, things just start to get stale. It's like living in a house and you not open up any of the windows, Gemini. And yours an air sign. I feel like the air needs to roam free. And because even like that with the wind was even kind of sticking out to me there. So this could even be just finding that, just like a different type of flow, maybe even, Gemini. I'm with that. Maybe kind of like rocking with the, look how we're vibing here. Very interesting here, Gemini. Let's get some tarot on this and get some details. And sidebar, Gemini, I got this new deck, and it's the cards are really beautiful, but it's just that they're super long. So mind this shuffling act here, because it's been I'm getting better. After a few signs, we're starting to get it down packed here. But man, it was I normally don't have to practice with cards, but this was a first. Thank you. Alright, Gemini. Let's see what we got here. Love to look at that. I'm with it. Ooh, Gemini, I'm with it. Interesting. I actually haven't looked at this. Is a 6 hour here. So you got the Ten of Cups, the Queen of Wands, the Three of Pentacles, and the Tower. And that's interesting. And that's funny too, considering that you know what, that makes sense. I feel like with the Tower popping up here, because this doesn't necessarily feel like your normal type of Tower vibes, as far as like that maybe there's been like a situation that's happened to you, Jim. And I'm gonna talk about that in a second if this is, but the energy more so that I'm getting is that Mars energy of the Tower, where it's like that Mars deals with like our passion, our drive, our energy. And I feel like there is a need to kind of like work this energy in a different type of way here. I feel like that maybe for some there's been almost like this level of like control, or like this, it almost feels like that there's been a structure, or been this routine that's been really kind of ingrained. And listen, Gemini, I'm all about routines, but it does feel like that there is, maybe we can work in some freshness here, bring something that's going to bring a little more kind of excitement, or a little more life, a little more zest to our lives. And I feel like that this could have, I feel like it could really bring about a very positive effect here, really kind of help you fill up your cups in a way that maybe we hadn't even planned on at first. But you know, the Tower also indicates that, just like, yeah, there's this sense of that the foundation is just, it's something is needing to change. It's just like something's needing to be reworked, or that, because Mars, when Mars energy comes through, Mars is there to bring that disorder, to bring disruption in things, but not in the sense of that it's just trying to just like derail your life there, Gemini, take away from your Ten of Cups or anything along those lines. It's to get you motivated again to go towards that pursuit, because maybe for some it's just like maybe things have gotten just a little monotonous, or maybe even just kind of like humdrum, where it's like we're just, it's just like there doesn't seem to be like that there's this level of stimulation, or that there's this, let me get a little bit more with this Three of Pentacles here, Gemini. There's a little something extra going down in there. Let's see what else we got here, Gemini. Alright, Gemini, so the Three of Pentacles is clarified by the Four of Pentacles, the Six of Wands, and then the Ace of Cups here. And yeah, it feels like that maybe for some we've been in a, like, it does feel like that we've been kind of cooped up here, and that there's been this, it's not that I feel like that we need to necessarily like just like shake up our foundation. It's just like maybe like just add a little more things that kind of please the senses, in the sense, because the Ace of Cups, and like other Ace of Cups, there's usually they're like 5 streams that are pouring out of the cups, and they represent like the 5 senses. And then there's a dove that's like diving down, that's representing the 6th sense. And it feels like that if we do more things to kind of like please the senses, as far as like, you know, getting out more, you know, moving the body, maybe even like I don't know. I'm getting more just like a really just being mobile, or being more, or, and this could even be too, Gemini. Maybe if this is like, even if we can't get out, let's say maybe if there's like because maybe for some, maybe we might be dealing with like an injury or something, where we can't get out as much as we want to. Maybe there's even like finding some ways to do stuff around the house. Maybe we can rearrange some things, or something along those lines. But it just feels like that, I don't know, like it's almost like maybe for some others it's just like there's this sense of not feeling challenged, or it's very interesting energy. And I feel like that there's a need for, or there's this wanting, or like a yearning for just something more, something different, something exciting. So just something to think about there, Gemini. More. And go have some fun with this Leo energy. You know, this is a great energy for you to create these kind of opportunities here. And that's interesting that that Mars would pop up, because let's talk about this Virgo energy, because your ruler and Mars are in Virgo right now. Well, your ruler will be. So let's get some tea and let's talk about this. Because with Virgo energy, you got your ruler Mercury that's going to be entering Virgo than Mars, and Mercury's going to enter on the 28th of July and will be there through the 4th of October. And with this energy, Gemini, this is a very, along with yourself, Mercury rules over Virgo. So Mercury's at home. And this is a very, at their other home. And this is a very productive cycle that we're going to be in. Our minds are going to be, your already sharp mind is going to be just extra sharp, Gemini, and your powers to analyze information becomes a lot stronger, and your communication becomes a lot clearer. So it's almost like, because I feel like when in your sign, when Mercury's at home with you, it's like that there's this energy of inspiration, and just things get really kind of cooking up here, and the energy's real kind of free and flighty. But now with Virgo energy, it's a little more grounded now, and I feel like that's a really powerful place for Virgo and for you to be, Gemini, as far as how you can work with these energies. But one thing with this energy is to be mindful of being overly critical, because that's one on the lower end. That's one of the things that we gotta watch out with Virgo energy. And then couple that with Mars being in Virgo until the 27th of August, the planet of action, and is in a very detail-oriented, organized, and analytical sign. So this is really perfect for just getting life back in balance. And Virgo deals with routines, Gemini. So this could be one too, where maybe we're just switching up our routines. Maybe there's something a need for just and I don't feel like it has to be anything major, but just some sort of change. Just little minor tweaks that can kind of get back to where they're filling up your cups again, Gemini. But this is going to be, I feel like, a very kind of a busier time for the soul tribe here, as far as getting things done. And the nice thing about this energy too, Virgo is a sign of service, being helpful in things. And so this could be something, if we've been wanting to get out and maybe do some volunteering or something along those lines, this energy is very supportive of that as well. But depending on where your Gemini placements are at, and I think I'm going to switch this too, because you got a couple of tough little placements here, because depending on where your placements are at, these planets are going to be forming squares with your signs. And squares can be kind of tough energies. They form internal conflicts, restrictions, challenges. You may be feeling a little irritated. It's very inharmonious energy. But that's not to say there aren't going to be achievements and things, but it's just things may even be a little delayed during this time. It's I like to describe squares as you go to take your car in, and finds out that you go taking it for a tire rotation. Turns out that you need to get an engine replaced, and it's going to be out of commission for a couple weeks, and it's just okay, now how am I going to commute to work? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Squares, where they are tough, they remind us, I feel of how resourceful we can be, when in a pinch, and how when there's, it's almost like they're forcing a tower moment in a sense. But the things with these situations is that we can either stay focused on the fact that all this stuff is happening, or we can, it's how I like to say, it's we may not be able to control the situation, but we can control how we feel about it, and maybe some ways that we set ourselves up for success about this thing, how we maybe deal with these stressors and things. But let's get some tarot on, or get an oracle on this. Gemini, let's see what we got here. Interesting. Alright, so you got the 8th card of Cancers here, which is the Well card. And with this card, this is a card of deeper meaning, community, hidden emotions, nourishing, social resources, true feelings, support, savings, perception, sustenance, looking deeper, provided for, and consciousness. And interesting, Gemini, the energy that's coming through here is the hidden emotions. And if there's something here that we've been maybe kind of keeping bottled up or something, maybe there's either maybe we've had like a dream of travel, or maybe we've been wanting to, maybe even thinking about like maybe changing careers, or I mean, this could maybe even not necessarily like changing relationships, but more so maybe even like making some emotions known, or maybe even making some feelings known, or something like that. Just even thinking with the Queen of Wands, I feel like that there's something here about bringing those emotions to light. I feel like, like, especially since you got the Ace of Cups here, because the Ace of Cups is, to me, is almost like a bottomless well of emotions and compassion and things. And there's an energy here of just like exploring some deeper aspects of yourself. There's maybe even like an energy of just like some kind of like untapped desire, or something along those lines, Gemini. It's very fascinating here. And I'm gonna get some more on that in a moment. But I feel like also that another energy that's kind of coming up here is the perception. And if we do find ourselves maybe in a tower moment or something along those lines, where things have been, where either things have been tough, or that we've been in need of a change or something along those lines, it's again, it's like how we view the tower moment. We could either focus on the suck, or we can focus on the growth that's going to come from this thing, the sense of fulfillment, the emotional stability, not even just emotional, but the all stability that comes and how we feel when we do rise up from tough situations. Because the Six of Wands, where this is a card of victory, the thing is, this card signifies like a long journey to get to that sense of victory. So it's not just oh, you won. It's that effort too, as well, to get to that place. And so I feel that it's remembering that even in these tougher situations, these squared situations, because you do got quite a bit of planets kind of forming some aspects with your placements here, but it is going to shape you up in the longer run, and you're going to feel it is going to get you to this place of where we may not be able to control the situations, but we can set ourselves up so that when they do come, the hit is not as heavy as if we were to just kind of like catch us off guard here. I hope that makes sense. But let's get some tarot on this and get some more details. And maybe to find this hidden thing, there may be a need to go on these, whatever this journey within, or this adventure is, or yeah, let's get a little bit more here. Thank you. All right, Jim, let's see what we got here. Alright, so we have the Two of Cups here, the Nine of Wands, and then the Five of Swords. And I feel like the Nine of Wands has been kind of floating around within all the signs a little bit here. And it feels like that it's, for some of you, I feel like that the energies have been like, so these hidden emotions, it feels like that maybe for some it's like we've been trying to do things the way that maybe others have been, either we've been trying to emulate, or not even emulate, but like almost like copy what others have been doing to try to make it our own, or there's this energy of maybe even feeling like that these ideas have maybe been forced upon us, like that had to go against what we feel, or something along those lines with this Two of Cups energy. But there's a sense here, I feel like, of really kind of tapping into more so of that unique side of you, Gemini. Because I feel like Gemini energy, you all are kind of like the chameleons of the zodiacs. Especially I feel like when you're being able to be communicators like you are, Gemini energy is very adaptable, I feel like, in how you think and how you operate. And sometimes I feel that there can be this sense of almost kind of losing yourself a little bit. It's like there's still the essence of you, but there's this it's like that there's this energy for some. It's like we've taken on just another flavor of someone else, and that it's like, and it's like almost that your cups have been kind of buried down, and but I don't feel like it's in a like a manipulative sense or something along those lines. It feels like for some it feels more so just how the demeanor is. It's just you're so used to being able to just kind of flip from person to person, and it's like I feel like there's a need to kind of really connect with you and really kind of find who you are. And yeah, very, very interesting. Because the Two of Cups is after like the Lovers, your card. The Two of Cups for me is like a card of really connecting with your higher self. And yeah, there's this need, or this again a power, or a power, a need to find your power and to connect with, yeah, just your energies, Gemini. Because I feel like if we keep trying to be this thing that we're not, or trying to force these aspects of ourselves that don't feel right, or that we need to force, it's just gonna it makes the journey, or it makes the lines get kind of blurry here. So that's, let me get a little bit more on that Two of Cups there, Gemini. That's fascinating. Thank you. Alright, Gemini, let's see what we got here. Interesting. Okay, yeah. Because the Two of Cups is clarified by the Five of Cups, the Judgment, and then the Sun. And this is interesting, Gemini, because I feel that's what I kind of feel like. It's because when you think about the sun, just like in like astrology and things, the sun deals with like our will and our ego, and Pluto can deal with like our sense of power, the sense of transformation. And the fact that you got the Tower and the Judgment card here, because Pluto is the higher octave of Mars, and I feel like that there's this sense of really kind of finding yourself again, because like maybe we've been, it almost feels like that you've been trying to like find this it's like we've been, maybe for some, it's like we've been trying to find ourselves through others, and not like again, it doesn't feel like a manipulative type of way, but it just feels like that there's this I'm not sure, it's like a sense of finding who you are. There's this longing here, just like this energy of just like feeling like our identities aren't still quite formed. It's like it's slipping through your fingers here, Gemini. But I feel like whenever you get a moment, you know, whether that be through journaling, and because I feel like anyone who has like any sort of like mercurial placements, Gemini or Virgo placements, that really can kind of help kind of find your thoughts and find out, you know, what energies that is yours, and what things that we may have kind of picked up from others, or you know, something along those lines, Gemini. Because when you think about Cancer energy, my sun sign's in Cancer, and Cancer is very similar to that in the sense of like we're a very emotional sign, and we can sense the emotions of others, and really can take that on. You really be getting into that empathic state. But you know, I'm always telling Cancer this too. It's like, but every now and again we need to take a moment and set back and kind of recharge a little bit. And maybe that's what this is. It's just like maybe we've been in this kind of like social aspect or things. Because I mean, you're a social sign, Gemini, and maybe there's just taking more moments to just kind of find who you are and find out how you shine. But right. Very interesting energy here, Gemini. But I like that. You know, this is discovering who you are. Really getting a strong. I like that. So interesting. All right, let's get some more tea, and let's talk about this Pisces energy. Because this would be a great energy for going within, Gemini. Because you got Saturn that's retrograde in Pisces, and then Neptune is retrograde in Pisces as well. And Saturn is going to be retrograde until the 4th of November. And with Saturn being retrograde, this energy is like asking us if we've been, what have we been doing up until this point? You know, have we been, in what ways have we been like achieving our dreams? And I feel like, especially if this has been resonating with you, I feel like it's like finding your dreams, Gemini, and finding out what really makes what not only would fill up all of your cups and make your dreams come true, but that could also bring change, like even like to the world here, bring some sunshine to everyone else's world. Because Pisces energy is very compassionate. It's taking that relationships that you form with in friendships and groups that you take from Aquarius energy, and it's taking that to that next level, really forming that soul tribe type of energy. But also, this is a great energy for, you know, if we've been having troubles kind of finding ourselves and figuring out what that means, you know, really kind of tapping into that spiritual side of you and getting to, because you and Pisces are like the most notable signs of duality. And there's a lot that goes through with that. And I feel like to be able to connect with the divine like you do, and to be able to have that dual perspective of things, you know, it's, there really is, I feel like, a strong need of like needing to find yourself, I feel like, over these over while Saturn is retrograde. And then too, Neptune is going to be retrograde until the 6th of December. And with this energy, this is fantastic. This is one to pay attention to any things, because Neptune can deal with like escapism and drugs, things along those in those areas. And so it's noticing that any sort of like toxic behaviors that have gotten out of hand, that have been holding you back, now that stuff is a lot more revealed to us. You know, it's like almost like the sun has been shined on a lot of the darkness that's needing to be done here. And I kind of like that too, how you got the planet, the sun, and then the planet furthest from the sun, and then the one that's taking action. I like this, Gemini, because I feel like that, you know, Neptune is trying to find that energy and getting you to change, but also with Neptune being such a mysterious planet, dealing with like illusions, deceptions, fantasies, dreams, and things. Now that she's going retrograde, it's like the veil has been open, and now we can better connect with ourselves and with others on such a deeper level that really some great growth, I feel like, can happen over these next over these, honestly, through the end of the year here. I feel like a lot of good stuff can really, a lot of personal growth can be happening, really getting that sense of power back. So, and same kind of thing that's happening with Virgo, that Virgo energy. Depending on where your Gemini placements are at, these planets are going to be forming squares with your sign. So it's going to be kind of a, maybe sort of a tough kind of transitional energy for you here, Gemini, but it is something that is going to lead you to happiness and to the sunshine over the long run here. But there may just be some challenges and some situations where we may need to meet with some tenacity, or meet with some gusto here. You know, keep that optimism up. But let's get get an oracle on this. Nice, Gemini. You really are singing up with your energies, and look at that. It's this oneness that's happening, because you got another one of your cards. The first card of Gemini, which is the Sapphire card. I really like this card, because this is a card of mental force, spiritual insight, hope and faith, wise judgment, power and strength, kindness, life of the party, extroverted, motivate, precious, valued, holy, divine favor, and revered. And the energy that's coming through here, Gemini, is the spiritual insight here, because you really are, you are an intuitive sign, Gemini. I feel like to be able to read people the way that you do, and to be able to communicate, almost like it's like you can almost mirror the inner, almost like the hidden aspects of others, even, you know, because listen, I have a Gemini moon, and I notice that sometimes when I converse with others that I do, and that's why it was easy for me to do when I worked in do food and beverage and stuff. It's like it's easy for me to adapt from personality, because Gemini energy, it really is one, like, you can read people real fast. It's just like, Okay, gotcha. You know, even from like the jokes to the mannerisms to like the all of that. And I feel like that you really are a powerful intuitive, and that's one where I'm almost even getting an energy too with like the mental force here, just making sure that we protect that energy and be mindful of how this interactions with others really do kind of affect you here, and how your internal dialogue I feel like as well even kind of affects you here, Gemini, and in bringing those interesting, even like bringing those kind of like that how to bring that dual nature together to operate as one, to bring them on the same page here, to take that sunlight and then that judgment, that light and then that dark energy, and how do we mold that stuff into something new, something really powerful, like it's let me get some tarot on this, Gemini. That's fascinating. Okay, I'm with it. Thank you. Alright, so let's see what we got here, Gemini. Interesting. Alright, I'm with it. So, oh, what's good, girl? So you got the Nine of Pentacles, the Six of Cups, the Fool, and then the Empress. And let's see, where do we want to start? Let's start with the Fool. Because for with this energy, Gemini, I don't know, I do feel like that there is this need for this, for just like again, for some type of freshness here. It's like there's this realization that's getting ready to happen here. I'm not... I don't know, it just seems like for someone, I was saying like where it feels like that there's this need of like getting the energies moving or something like that. I feel that if we were to work on this thing with the Nine of Pentacles, it's so funny because the Nine of Pentacles is working towards your Empress energy here. And so that, to me, that's a real powerful thing, Gemini, that if you were to take some time and really kind of get into like this, the word I'm getting is just like a different routine as far as like maybe how we go about... I wish I knew what this change was, but whatever this is, I feel like if we start working towards just any areas that we feel that are in need of just like, that have gotten kind of stale, or that has been, again, just kind of like the same old, or maybe just like kind of like past energies here. It's a need of bringing in just some new vitality here, because you know, where with the relationship, I love that the Tower and Venus are here, Mars and the Empress, because where Mars will come through and, like I said, brings discord and chaos and things along those lines. That leaves, once that foundation has been cleared, that's when the Empress comes in and brings about beauty and brings about change and brings about art and builds on top of that things and nourishes, makes new experiences happen here. And you know, I'm just feeling kind of like where I was talking about with that well. It's like if there are any sort of like past or hidden emotions or something. There's maybe even some of us, like there's this energy of like we're going back to the past or like reflecting on some sort of like old passion or something along those lines. This could be like an old hobby that you used to do. Maybe we used to be very active or something like that. Maybe you used to be in sports and things and it's been a while, so maybe you think about going for a jog, or maybe you used to, whatever that's looking like here. There's a need of just some fresh opportunities here, and for you to really kind of come into like a higher octave, considering like, one, considering that Nine of Pentacles to the Empress, but two, the Fool, Uranus energy, is the higher octave of your ruler, Mercury. And so, yeah, very interesting energy here, Gemini. I do feel that there's something, something is trying to come up here. But let's get to this next energy, which is going to be Taurus energy. Because you got Jupiter that's in Taurus, and then you got the Fool. You got Uranus that's in Taurus. And both of them, well, Jupiter's going to be in Taurus until May 25th of 2024. And with Jupiter being in Taurus over this next year, This is an energy for thinking about how we can invest in our security long term. You know, how we can keep that, because Taurus is considered the slowest moving sign. But I feel like that's nice. It's not, I feel like that abundance is going to slow down, but it is thinking about just that long game here. You know, if this is, maybe this is like a health thing as far as like wanting to move the body, or maybe we're making more time to do more travels or something along those lines. Maybe get on like a, whatever that's looking like. You know, that's where Jupiter was, like any areas that you can grow and expand in. Jupiter's all about that, and like doing that research as far as like learning stuff. Maybe we want to, I don't know, start doing some gardening, you know, looking into that, or whatever, literally whatever. I do feel like it's thinking towards that future, and and just thinking how we can yeah, again, just get more, kind of just a stronger foundation than what we already have. What changes need to get done here with the Tower and the Judgment? What old stuff can be put out so that we can welcome in some new stuff here? But and get to feel and really kind of bring up our self-esteem as well with this energy. But also, you got with Uranus being in Taurus. Uranus has been in Taurus since about 2018 and will be there till the beginning of July 2025. And with Uranus in Taurus, Uranus has been just changing everything up, you know, as far as from how we work to how everything has been done here. And Uranus doesn't do that to just shake step up or anything along those lines. Uranus is looking towards the future, and anything that will restrict our freedom and that affects the collective in a negative way, it's changing that stuff here, bringing that stuff to light, and just clearing that path for you to again tap into that Empress energy to build on top of this foundation, the stuff that all, because Pluto, it's going to be, I feel like these next, once Pluto really gets settled into Aquarius, this is going to be a great time for the air signs, you know, over this next 20 years. You know, very interesting for Aquarius, but for you and Libra as well. It's going to be forming some trines with your signs, and I already got, Pluto already did a little work with my moon sign earlier, so that was fascinating. But it's going to be, I feel like, a very transformative energy for you. You know, Pluto really doesn't play around, and Uranus is setting the stage for all of these outer planets that are getting. 2025, I feel like it's going to be a big one, but these next couple of years, I feel like are going to be some really big, transformative times for the soul tribe. So it's just getting prepped for that, Gemini, just seeing where the energies are going. But let's get let's get an oracle on this. Thank you. Let's see what we got here, Gemini. Interesting. Speaking of Libra, we got the 8th card of Libras here, which is the Blinders card. That's interesting, Gemini, because this is a card of victim mentality, confusion, tunnel vision, resist clarity, confirmation bias, restriction, narrow focus, echo chamber, denial, oblivious, out of touch, hyper focus, and concentration. Really? So, so Gemini, the energy that's kind of coming through strongest here is the oblivious part of this, and it doesn't feel like that it's this oblivious is from like a lack of knowledge. It almost feels like that we are kind of putting our blinders up to, it's like choosing that that sort of like almost like that ignorance is bliss type of mentality here. And it seems like that we're choosing to not, there's something that we're not seeing, you know, just it's considering that you got a lot of strong cards here of change, and I feel like we want to be careful of that, Gemini, because even thinking about this tower, or about the tower, I feel like a lot of the times, and even the tower and the judgment, I feel like a lot of the times higher self tries to keep this stuff more internal, you know, give us the power to take control over these situations here. And when we hesitate, there's no judgment there. I mean, you know, in a sense, like, you know, judgment-free zone with higher self, but if higher self notices that we're having troubles taking that action, then that's when these towers start happening to us, where change starts forcing themselves. It's like, okay, well, we need to take this externally and start getting some actions taken. But because I feel like too, Gemini, it's one of those things when we turn a blind eye to whatever this is. This could be to health. This could be to spirituality, to our relationships, whatever this is looking like. When we turn a blind eye to that, we are in a sense restricting ourselves and putting out. See how this tower here? I don't know if you can tell. She's got like these marionette strings that's controlling this tower here, and it feels like that. It's almost like you've become this own. It almost feels like that. It's like we're essentially like kind of controlling ourselves, or like we're like putting ourselves in a state of us like of like again of just restriction, or just this smallness or something along those lines, Gemini. But we just want to be mindful of any energies like that, and then not paying attention to if there's something that needs to change or anything along those lines. Because the more that we resist it, the harder it is, the harder the lessons become. You know what I mean? It's a tricky game sometimes with this with the universe. But let's get some tarot on this. Gemini, let's see what we got here. All right, so we have the Three of Swords, the Eight of Cups, the Queen of Cups, and then the Ace of Wands here. Very interesting, Gemini, because it feels like that with the Three of Swords being here and how you got these blinders up. It's almost that we're turning a blind eye. Not necessarily. It's like if it hurts, or if it's something that's difficult, it's like we're not dealing with it. It's like we're just like instead of finding ways to maybe change and let this thing go and grow from this stuff with the with the Eight of Cups here. It's just like that we're kind of, again, like we're putting on the blinders. We're not. It's either we're not facing it, or it's just like we're like rushing through it or something along those lines. And I feel like the Queen of Cups, in order for us to get that growth and whatever that is, there's a need to feel whatever this is that may have been hurting us in the past. With this Three of Swords here, there's and like channeling this energy, I feel like a little bit differently than maybe if we've been, and maybe that's what that change is that I've been kind of talking about. That's that need of putting this energy out of. It's just like that. It seems like that maybe we've been kind of rooted, even in a sense of like in some type of old ways here, because Queen of Cups is Cancerian energy. It's, and Cancer can be rooted to the past. And even just saying that, it's like, again, maybe there's like a past thing that kind of hurt us here that we just don't want to face or something. But it's one of those things that we ignore this thing, Gemini. It's just going to, even when we try to take actions to change stuff, once the energy gets settled, then it seems like that the same cycle happens again, and then you don't get to this state of going from judgment to the world, where we're completing a cycle. It's just like we're staying in this state of judgment. It's staying in the state of tower, where it's just like new experiences, but same old lessons. You know what I mean? And I feel like we want to be, there's something that's needing a deeper look, when we're talking about with that well card. So all right, Jim, I think that's all I got out of that one there. But yeah, we just be mindful of that. If we have been kind of ignoring something, yeah, we gotta feel stuff to heal it. You know what I mean? It's understanding that, and then turning it's feeling it, and then understanding that logically, so that we can send it love and light here. But let's get some teeth, and let's get to this last energy here, which is Capricorn. And with Capricorn, speaking of Pluto, I'll talk about this Pluto talk. Pluto's going to be retrograde in Capricorn until the 10th of October. And with this energy, you know, Capricorn deals with like our sense of accomplishments and things along those lines. And Pluto, this is really a strong placement for Pluto because it's asking us, what does achievement look like for you? You know, what does success and all that, you know, what does you being in your Empress energy look like? And then it's, if we don't seem, if we're disappointed with where things are at thus far, then what can we do to change that up? You know what I mean? How can we get to that highest vibration of yourself? And then even on a more kind of, you know, when we're talking about power and things, Capricorn energy can deal with like the governments and authorities and stuff, and there's going to be a lot of changes coming to that, a lot of things being brought up to light. Pluto does not play around when he's making moves, and I do feel like that we are in for a lot of just not just personal change, but a lot of global change that's going to be happening as well. A lot is going to be going down over these next, well, with Pluto over the next 20 years, you know, because it being in such an innovative sign of Aquarius, it's, yes, things are going to go down, but I feel like it doesn't have to be where it's like a, I'm not trying to build like a doom and gloom thing. No, this is an exciting energy. This is going to be a revitalizing resurgence for like the collective. It's going to be fantastic, but depending on how we resist, how we deal with this growth and deal with change is going to affect how smooth this is going to be and how happy and stuff, or you know, with 10 of cups, how much sunshine and things is going to be in this, just depending on the work that we put in, Gemini. But okay, now let's get us, I thought I had a little bit more on that. Let's get let's get an oracle on this. Nice. Let's make a wish, Gemini, because you got the 8th card of Aries here, which is the shooting star card. Ooh. And with this card, oh, I'm knocking your cards over. This is a card of quick action, wish granted, rare, falling, moment in time, luck, dynamic, incandescent, dazzled, sudden, short-lived, passionate, passing through, enterprising, and brilliant. And the energy that's coming through here, Gemini, is the falling. And I feel like that's fascinating. Because I feel like with the falling, it almost seems like, just like with that, it feels like that there's this energy of maybe for some, and listen, this is not like, it almost feels like maybe for some there may be this energy of where we feel like that things may be kind of, in a sense, like falling, in a sense of like maybe we've been on a tough streak here as of lately. Maybe for some we've been really kind of eating it here, and it's just been seem like it's been lesson after lesson after change, and it all does feel very kind of drastic and seem like it's just been kind of like we haven't had maybe a moment to get a break. And where I'm not saying that these things are just like happening to you just to keep you down. I do feel like that if this is something, if we're noticing that there has been a lot of rapid changes, it's figuring out what that is, you know, what is the common theme, so that we can, and like what actions do we need to take to get out of this cycle. There's some like a deeper meaning to this stuff that may be happening to you, if this is something that's been going down, or if you're just noticing anything in the future. And I just don't mean over the next month, I mean just during this journey, Gemini. Like if we notice any kind of recurring things, let's say you just seem to attract the same type of person in like a relationship, or you know, whatever, there's any kind of commonalities there. Because where I will say that it's not to say that, like, let's say, for example, if people have been kind of putting you through the ringer, is not to absolve them of what they've done, but the one thing that they do have in common in all these situations is you. And it's figuring out in what aspect what part do you play in that role, and then what do you need to do to change to change this flow up here, so that we can get to this state of of completion here, so that we can really get this moving here, because this almost feels like that this almost gives me like kind of hanged man energy, where it's just like asking how much do we want to sacrifice in order before there's this new perspective that's coming through here, so that the energy doesn't feel like that it's just falling, because it's life is, you know, nothing but like just like the waxing and waning of life, but it just And listen, I know when we're in it, it seems kind of tough, but you're exactly, even in these like kind of tougher situations, you're exactly where you need to be in this moment in time. It's all divine timing, and there's all, what we was talking about here, you with your Sapphire card popping up here, I really do feel like that the energies are saying you are in divine favor, but it's connecting with that divineness, you know, really tapping into that lover's energy, making that connection, and like asking it's very fascinating here. Let's get some tarot on this. See if we can get some more details. Thank you. Let's see what we got here, Gemini. Interesting. Alright, Gemini, last little bit here. Oh, and I like that. So here's it. So you got the, oh, that's a cool looking Temperance. Yeah, I've had a chance to like really sit down and look at this deck, Gemini, yet, because it's been a little kind of busy over here the last few months. But you got the Temperance card here, the High Priestess, the Four of Swords, the Eight of Swords, and then the Ten of Pentacles here. Let's switch back over here, Gemini, because this is very fascinating energy. I feel like what's going down. It's like you are in this state of, I do feel like that maybe for some we might be feeling kind of stuck in our heads or something like the Eight of Swords is like this. It's like a self-imposed prison, and it feels like that there's this. It almost feels like I'm just seeing really kind of like a theme here, kind of with like these strings here, because that's like. It does feel like that there's been this energy of like we've been like something's been like just like out of our control, and it feels like that we haven't been able to just bring things back in harmony, bring things back in balance. And I feel like with the Four of Swords here, and the Ten of Pentacles here, I feel like there's a need to just like to almost like to find moments for you to just relax and really kind of take a moment and kind of really be with your thoughts and be with your emotions, and really kind of tap into that more kind of intuitive side of you here, like with the High Priestess, because the High Priestess represents our intuition. She's the moon, and the moon deals also with like the subconscious and, you know, the emotions and things along those lines. And, you know, when you think about the moon, Cancer's ruler, she's moving through all the zodiac signs in different phases, and it's a lot, you know, it's a lot to deal with. And it just feels like that if we were to take this moment to just kind of restore order and restore balance, you know, get yourself stable and get these energies back. I'm not sure, and like even just like because it's almost even giving me like a Knight of Swords type of energy, where it's like we're just kind of powering either just through the change, but we haven't taken a moment to like really process what's going down here. And there's just kind of reflect on how things have been going up until now, Gemini. I really am getting this like really this strong sense of just kind of just really kind of doing this kind of meditation, and really kind of there's some kind of almost like new perspective that's getting ready to come, or some sort of new way of let me get a little bit more on this High Priestess here. Okay, hold on. Just how fascinating. So the High Priestess, and he's really cool too. The High Priestess is clarified by the Hierophant here. And I like that too, because there's the moon, the High Priestess is exalted in Taurus, the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is that bridge between the divine, you know, that connection of the spiritual world to the material world. And again, there's that sense of duality that's coming through here. There's a need to. I'm looking at his hands here, and it's just like there's a need to like connect upward, or just like really to kind of connect to the higher sources here, Gemini. And I hope that this makes sense. It's very. I think I'm gonna get out of this because I think I'm trying to force it, but. Whatever this thing is that we may be focusing on here, Gemini, I do feel that the fact that you got your Ten of Cups and your Ten of Pentacles as well, is going to lead to this state of balance. But that's what I feel like all this change is leading you up into, or leading you to. But it's just, I feel like there's just something that's missing, or something that is, yeah, I'm going to get out of this, Gemini, because we'll be here all day. But, But if anything resonated with you, I hope that made sense. Give it a thumbs up. And share this, Gemini, if you know someone who's, I don't know, either like just like kind of, it's like a mix of like we're not paying attention to something, or there's a need of just like going out, and maybe there's more perspectives that would come from that. But, you know, share this, Gemini. And then it's if you haven't already, subscribe, hit that bell button. You get notified when I have these videos each week. And then I'm on this meditation app, Insight Timer, and I started a group on there called Zodiacs Raising the Vibration. And it's just a group to post positive affirmations, encouraging messages, things along those lines. And then as the group grows, I'm going to start posting different meditations, things like positive, or like guided meditations, binaural beats, things along those lines. And do like some groups, like maybe like doing like self-care with the Empress, or I don't know, embracing change with the Tower. We're, you know, shining light with the sun. We're still kind of figuring this out here, Gemini, but definitely check that out. And then, lastly, you getting one of Cancer's rulers. Getting Cancer's ruler here, not that you need her, but if you have any Cancer in your placements, Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, even Venus for you. Yeah, for you. Yeah, Venus. Yes. Come on over to my other channel, the Chariot and Friends. I do videos Monday through Friday there. We discuss lunar shenanigans. Absolutely geek out. The Empress actually popped out the other day, and I kind of lost it. She always comes out on whenever the sun seems to be in, or when the moon seems to be in Taurus or Libra, so that's always an exciting time. And all that housekeeping, down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards here, so I can get you out of here. So you got the Devil here, Gemini. I'm going to get your Oracle card in a second, but with the Devil here, I feel like the Devil is a reminder of when we go through these changes and things, you know, when we get through these challenges, the Devil is trying to make us stronger. It's trying to get in, because it's Capricorn energy, and the Devil is trying to get us to where we do achieve things, but, well, in this case, she tends to go through things in a very unorthodox manner as far as like how we get there. She'll thrust us back into, we'll be like, okay, I've gotten through this thing, I've grown. It's just like, dope. Okay, let's see how you do with this thing in this scenario, just to make sure. And then it's just like, oh, okay, we're still feeling a little weak there. Well, then let's work on that. You know, it may not be the greatest way to get lessons, you know, but it's that kind of that tough fatherly love, you know, because Capricorn, they're the fathers of the zodiac. But it is getting you to that highest vibration. You know, I feel the Devil's intentions are your greater good. And I do feel like that it's remembering that it's, that even when, you know, when we're working towards that Ten of Pentacles, that Ten of Cups, you know, that fulfillment, that happily ever after, that legacy, there are going to be challenges along the way, and there are going to be things that we can't avoid, because I feel like that's what part of this Devil situation is that when I was talking about that oblivious energy with the blinders, it's focusing on that, and like, you know, paying attention to just what energies that are. Now let me get your oracle card here. Interesting. Okay. So you got the sound card up right here, Gemini. And this almost feels like that maybe for some, because it feels like that it's considering you to be you're such a cerebral sign in that you deal with communication and things. I feel like we want to be mindful of the things that we're telling ourselves, you know, just like what are you hearing every time that you when you think about where you're at on your journey, or that when you think about a certain situation, and just being mindful of where that energy takes you. And if we're I almost feel like too that there's a need to maybe bring even more some kind of I don't know if this is conversations with others or if there's just something here, but I feel like there's a need to bring in more kind of peaceful sounds, like whether this maybe be like listening to actual like different types of music, maybe just more kind of soothing things, or just something to just bring a little more peace, just in with the force source. This could be a card of rest, and you know, just needing to give that brain a break and you know, just kind of rest the mind, or yeah, just something to think about there, Gemini. And because maybe one last thing, you know, considering you did get a lot of change cards, and you know that in that blinders card is talk about an echo chamber. You know, if we're playing a lot, if we're listening to a lot of things that are talking about a lot of doom and gloom and things along those lines, we want to be mindful of that too, because that keeps you in that energy and it's going to keep that foundation rocky, and it just puts you in a weird space. So we just want to be mindful of stuff like that too. And it's not to say there's anything wrong, you know, watching the news or, you know, whatever you happen to listen to. Just be mindful of how it affects you and how deep. Yeah, just really be mindful of how this can affect you, Gemini. So I think I'm gonna leave that there. But you stay safe out there with these. If you know, if we're going on a trip, I'm with it. You know, you're definitely safe travels, Gemini. But yeah, just stay safe out there with this. Just this understanding and this. I don't know, getting like feel like there's just like a discovery here, just like a deeper side of you that's getting ready to just be unveiled here, Gemini. Raise your vibration through the roof. Especially got Empress, Queen of Cups here. Do some self care, you know, because this, especially we've been kind of feeling a lot, going through a lot of things. Make sure to take care of yourself. Show yourself also too. Queen of Cups, bunch of compassion here, you know, all the way. And you know what? I actually didn't think about that when we were talking about families earlier. Considering you got the Queen of Cups and the Empress here, you know, if we're thinking about babies. Absolutely, especially in Leo season. Of course, what's the greatest creation other than a child? But if we're not, let's be mindful. Let's be mindful of start ringing that bell there, Gemini. And I will get you on the next one. Oh, hold on. Later.